order. This isn't a house party. Let's begin the conversation.
That's what we're going to do. We're going to have a conversation. That means we're going to talk to a member of Congress, and we're doing that right now. Congressman Tim Griffin of Arkansas, from my home district, the 2nd District of the state of Arkansas, is with me. And Congressman Griffin has discovered something that I bet will make you as mad as it's made him. I don't know if you know this or not, but you're spending a lot of your tax dollars helping for people to have free cell phones. Just a lovely idea. Another great government giveaway. Congressman Tim Griffin, welcome to the Mike Huckabee Show. Good to talk to you.
Hey, Governor. How you doing?
I'm doing great.
Awesome.
Tell me about this cell phone project. I mean, this is costing millions and millions of dollars.
Well, you know, a lot of times we find stupid spending in the federal government, and it makes you really mad, but it's not a lot of money. Well, that's not this situation, because here we're talking about almost $1 billion last year. Here's the deal. In the early 80s, the federal government started the Lifeline program. Well-intentioned and reasonable. Give low-income folks and the elderly access to a landline. Makes sense. Not a lot of abuse with that. Who needs numerous landlines in their home? Well, a few years ago, they said, hey, let's give away free cell phones. And this program has absolutely exploded from hundreds of millions of dollars a year to $1 billion. And it is outrageous. Some people are getting 2 and 3 cell phones. Some people are getting 10, 20, 30, and 40 cell phones, and they're not even basic cell phones. They're smartphones. They're BlackBerries. They're iPhones. They're the phones that you and I have to pay for, and folks are just gathering them up in handfuls.
How could this be possible? I mean, Congressman, how could one person end up with multiple cell phones? Is there not any kind of accountability? Do you just walk up and say, yeah, I'd like to have a cell phone all programmed up?
Well, that's exactly right. And here's the deal. Some people in my district here in Little Rock have mailed me the phones that they get unsolicited in the mail. They'll just get a phone in the mail and said, here's your free cell phone. You can go to parking lots at big sporting events and what have you, and there'll be this booth set up that say, if you qualify for any of these federal assistance programs, you get a free cell phone, federal government. You're not going to believe this, but my 4-year-old came home from school the other day, and a cell phone solicitation was in her backpack. I kid you not.
4 years old.
And it's crazy. And that's because what the system has basically cut deals with the private sector that the government says, look, you tell us how many phones you give out, and we'll reimburse you.
Well, I'm sure they'd want to give out a lot if they're going to get reimbursed by Uncle Sugar, and that's what we're doing.
It's
gosh,
outrageous.
It is outrageous. What can you do about it? I mean, are you taking legislative action to try to stop this nonsense?
Well, that's exactly what we've done, and I'm making a real big push this week. There's been great investigations in Baltimore and Atlanta and these other cities on these local news stations that have showed how ludicrous it is. And so what I'm doing is trying to educate people on this, and I've introduced a bill, H.R. 3481. It's the Stop Taxpayer-Funded Cell Phones Act. And basically what I do is I say, look, let's take Lifeline, that program, back to its original intent, landlines only. No more free cell phones, period. And if you wonder how it's funded, look at your cell phone bill. Look for the line that says either Universal Service Fund or Universal Service Charge or Universal Service Fee. That's the fund. That's the tax that you pay that funds this, and this is sort of like the fund that you started when you started the Tax Me More fund.
Oh yeah, I had a lot of fun with that.
I've got a new Buffett rule, and my Buffett rule is Warren Buffett ought to just write $1 billion check a year out of his own account if he wants to fund this kind of stuff. Because if you look at what the president's been wanting to do in terms of raising taxes, it doesn't bring in a whole bunch more than we're spending on free cell phones. It's crazy.
It is crazy. Congressman, now these cell phones, they're not restricted to just 911 or like a certain number of numbers. Are they unrestricted cell phones?
Yeah, that's right. You get 100 minutes a month on each phone or something like that. You get data service. And so what people do is they just accumulate a whole bunch of them, and they just use them up, and they move to the next number, and they move to the next number. If I could mention this, Governor, on my Facebook page, we've got some videos from around the country showing undercover investigations by local news media and all, and it will blow your mind. It's you just go to facebook.com/rep Tim Griffin, R-E-P Tim Griffin. We have the video on there, and it is outrageous. And my broader point, Governor, is if we can't cut this $1 billion, then we're in big, big trouble when it comes to dealing with the really difficult decisions.
Yeah, this ought to be easy. This ought to be one of those that nobody, Democrat, Republican, independent, whoever, brainless, everybody ought to be able to say, look, there's no point in the taxpayers giving anybody and everybody a cell phone so they can go around texting their friends and chit-chatting. And my gosh, this is insane. Thanks for not only bringing it to the public's attention, but for trying to stop it with H.R. 3481. Is that the bill?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. That is it. And I appreciate you having me on, because without shows like this, where people all around the country are listening, a lot of members of Congress don't know this is a problem. I've mentioned it because my constituents have made it clear to me it's a problem, and I mentioned it to other members, and they're unaware of it.
Well, Congressman, thank you for being here. Congressman Tim Griffin, fighting the good fight for the taxpayers, and hope you're successful at it, and we're with you 100% on it. Thank you for being here on the Mike Huckabee Show.